Hello, Facebook. What's up? Welcome to Next Up Accessories, where we connect your next up and vehicle personalization to make you more money and happier customers. What is vehicle personalization? I'm so glad you asked. It's a proven methodology that present vehicle customization to your customers that will increase your paycheck, give your customers the car they want, and skyrocket your CSI. According to our friend Eric Gonzalez, a successful sales professional in the automotive industry, making vehicle personalization touch every part of your dealership is essential. If accessories currently is not part of your dealership, tune into this podcast, which hopefully you are right now. Subscribe to our podcast on YouTube, as well as on Podbean and other social media platforms, and learn more about vehicle personalization, how you can bring it into your dealership. So you can also check us out on our website, insigniagroup.com. If you're a customer of Insignia and you're tuning in, thank you for your business. Make sure you are subscribing to our blog, which is on our website, and give us some shout outs on our blog. You can post some comments on our blog. You can post some comments on our social media. We want to thank Side Hustle, the band, for the use of their song, Work With What You Got. I think it's appropriate for the car industry. You can find Side Hustle, the band, at sidehustletheband.com. And so let's dive in. We got a great show. This is like the best practice of the best practice show, right? So we went straight in. There was no David Stringer time. It was like straight in to our guests. And so I'm going to introduce them. It's Jimmy Mondragon and Dave West. Both are excellent examples of Insignia employees, and we're going to get into their background and what they do for Insignia and what they do, more importantly, for our dealership customers. So I'm hoping that today is going to be just full of best practices that you can take back to your dealership today, in your car sale today. Remember, Next Up Accessories is aimed at car sales professionals. And so if you're a car sales professional and you've got a buddy that's also a car sales professional, hey, do us a favor and tag them in the comments and ask them and invite them to watch our podcast. So Mr. Mondragon, introduce yourself, tell everybody who you are and what you do. And then Mr. West, you do the same, please.
All right. So my name's Jimmy Mondragon. I work for the Insignia Group. Been with the group for about 3 years. And I am a territory manager as of now, moving up. What I do is I work with new car dealers, just tune up their accessory programs and show them the way.
Awesome. Mr. West?
Hi, I'm Dave West. I'm the Vice President of Customer Success at Insignia Group. It means that my responsibility is making sure that our clients are successful and working with my team to cause that to happen and create great, strong vehicle personalization cultures within the dealerships that we work with. I live in Enfield, Massachusetts, out here in the woods and the hills.
Yes, truly in the woods of Massachusetts. And we were giving you a hard time this morning because all of a sudden you had a sweater on and it was like chilly up there and we're all sweating gumdrops down here in the South. So, hey, I'm going to read a little bit about these guys. With 38 years of marketing experience, Dave hopped onto vehicle personalization train with Insignia. He is a New England guy who picked up running the day-to-day from that day on. So speaking of running, he's a great runner, and you've been in the aftermarket for many, many years. You were an independent contractor for manufacturers. You have been somewhat of a journeyman through all of the vehicle personalization life cycle, if you will. So you bring a ton of experience. And why you are our Vice President of Customer Success is because you have the patience of Job. And you absolutely need that patience and calm, steady attitude that we love and that our customers love. So Dave West, welcome to the show. Jimmy Mondragon is our specialist providing accessory sales solutions and consulting. for our dealerships, vehicle personalization. Beyond that, beyond his name, Jimmy Mondragon, I mean, who doesn't want a name like Jimmy Mondragon? It sounds like a comic book character who does amazing things. Well, the real Jimmy Mondragon does amazing things too. He's a drift racer. Now, no kidding. Look him up. He has a beautiful car, and he does this on the side. And you've been doing this. How many years have you been a drift racer and doing that?
I've been doing drifting for about 3.5, 4 years, building cars and getting them sideways.
That is so cool. So if you don't know what drift racing is, because I had no freaking clue until Jimmy started working with us a couple of years ago. I went out and looked at it, and it's sort of like Dukes of Hazzard on steroids. It's like controlled skating around a track. It's pretty awesome.
Absolutely.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah. Yeah, Leslie, so exciting, like more like terrifying.
Yeah, I heard Jimmy was going to offer you a ride. You can come for everything. Show you what it's like.
I'll be sure to take my Dramamine. Yeah.
Yeah, if you can handle the G-forces, right?
Right. That's right. No, absolutely. So today's show is going to all be about best practices, and we're going to really tune up this show to speak to our audience about how they can bring techniques and and talk a little bit about the industry and where it stands. So let's kind of start there, because we've had a number of different dealerships on. We've had dealer personnel on. Let's go, Jimmy, starting with you, kind of tell me what you've heard as we progressed now in here. We're through middle of August. Kind of give us the state. You're on the West Coast. What's the state of the state in dealerships right now?
Well, in my area, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona area, and I work with California also, and also Texas. And right now, I mean, car sales have actually boomed quite a bit. The only real problem is that they don't have the inventory, which obviously right now is the time to add on accessories to everything. Right now, they need that extra gross since they can't sell as many vehicles. Now, that's really what we're seeing happening out here. It's just adding more gross to each car, but the times are doing really well. It's a little bit different than what some would think, because we did obviously middle of March when the pandemic did hit, plummet a little bit, but I believe that was just people were being scared, and now people are starting to lighten up a little bit, no matter what side of the fence you're on, and people are buying. Yeah.
Dave, what are you seeing? You're in the Northeast. What's the general temperament there?
It's strong. Yes, we were affected very deeply here in the Northeast by COVID-19 and the initial ensuing concerns everyone had, and deep shutdowns that were imposed. And the retailers found a way to get some business done. Car dealerships got some business done, got creative, even if they weren't used to digital retailing yet. And that has continued, and the in-showroom sales have taken off. Everybody's reporting great numbers. Matter of fact, very interestingly, we've been looking at some statistics, and we're seeing dealers that are well over their sales of accessories this year over last year, even with that dip that happened back in the spring. So, right.
And sort of goes along with that comment, they're selling more vehicles with less salespeople. Right. So, right now, those that are selling cars are very busy. So 1 o'clock on a Wednesday, if hopefully you're in the lunch hour watching us while somebody else has all the ups on the showroom, same time, you might have to catch this podcast after hours, because you really are going bell to bell. So let's talk about what we're seeing, what you're seeing specifically when it comes to vehicle personalization in our current customers. I think sometimes we have folks on that they're bashful, right? It's one of those things where if you're a successful car dealer, you don't really want to tell everybody, how wonderfully well you're doing, right? Because why? Because, well, then somebody's going to start watching what I'm doing. So I noticed that a lot of our guests, Cooper the last 2 weeks ago was a good example. They're killing it. And, he's very bashful about it. So talk to us about some examples, obviously leave the names out, but some examples of dealerships that are doing really well right now with vehicle personalization, because we've got a lot of them. I mean, we're seeing the stats. So Dave, I'll start with you first. If you have a couple of good examples.
Okay. Well, one thing that comes to mind, especially with that business about selling more cars and selling more accessories with less people, which certainly makes general managers and principals very happy, is one retailer that I was talking to that is involved with our guided program reported to me that he was back in the month of...
Oh, he's calling now, so
shut that thing off. Back in April, he reported to me that he was selling twice as many cars as he had in the same time the previous year, with a third of the salespeople, and that his accessory sales had doubled as well. So that was an interesting, the silver lining to the COVID cloud is that he had put his toes in the water of digital retailing just prior to March. So he was positioned well, and then really ran with it. So it was a very interesting change-up success.
So, we may be seeing the benefit of the fact that those that are good salespeople who have been incorporating, and dealerships who have been incorporating vehicle personalization, it's already part of their process. They're seeing double the sales because those folks that maybe weren't as good as salespeople aren't there anymore. And those that weren't that great as salespeople probably weren't the ones offering the vehicle personalization. So now you've got the A-listers selling cars, and they already know they can make a lot more money if they sell accessories. So you double your sales. So I do think that correlation should not be lost on the fact that if you can sell more cars with less people and double your accessory sales, there's something to that. There's definitely something to that. Jimmy, what are you seeing?
Yeah, so I have actually a good amount of dealerships that have actually said that they didn't see a big dip at all, which is kind of odd, really, for most people are thinking. But they're very well trained. They use our system very religiously. They offer accessories to every single customer, and the general manager has made it a point that this has to happen every single customer, no matter what, during the sell. And they're making their numbers. They've been making their numbers. And as far as having less salespeople, they've had the benefit of not having less people, but they're selling. But they're using our system consistently. And it is a Subaru dealership, actually. And very proud of them. And it's someone that I use as an example very often, because it starts at the top with the dealerships, and then it trickles down, meaning, you have to have a full buy-in to the Insignia system and the powers that we bring, and the success stories we bring, and use what we actually put in front of you. We guide to success, of course, but it's also making sure management is there to be sure it's happening. And, and the sales managers and the parts managers are involved. Basically all the fixed ops are involved heavily. It's a cohesive unit that's working in tandem, and they were doing that. And and like I said, there are quite a few I have that are doing it that way or have been. So those are pretty successful dealerships.
Yeah, absolutely. Jason Ludwig, another valuable member of our team, comments here. Yes, the pandemic boiled off the B and C salespeople. Yeah. So, good choice of words there. I think where I wanted to go with that is beyond the fact that you could increase your sales during an atypical time in the sales in the car industry. What are you guys seeing as some of the other benefits that our dealerships are telling us in terms of right now they're seeing steady car sales, they're seeing good customers coming in, those that can buy, they're buying. What are the other fringe benefits other than money in the pocket of the salesperson for more accessory sales that you get from vehicle personalization in a car sale?
Well, absolutely. Thing that I'm seeing reflected is that the customers are getting a better showroom experience when they come into the store. They're happier. They're more engaged with our retailers that are aggressively, consistently using presentation of accessories and personalizing vehicles. It raises the fun level for the customer, and it's a real game changer in that respect. You think about the fact that the customer makes a decision to buy a car, and that can be kind of stressful with the negotiating part of it. And when they get done with that, it's relieving, and they feel good because they just made a selection and they bought a car. And we can amplify that by immediately presenting the concept of personalizing that vehicle and making it their own and get them even more engaged. And what we're hearing is that that's driving up CSI scores. These customers are just happier with the whole experience.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if I could touch on what Jason actually had posted, he's definitely 100%.
Yeah.
He's 100% correct. But the other side of the coin is too, when you do have these salesmen and women with offering accessories to each person purchasing a vehicle, you're also getting some type of financial gain from the dealership for selling accessories. So you're going to maintain and keep those salesmen and women by paying them a little bit more money for selling these accessories. So I mean, that's a huge thing. Let's face it, money drives people, and with the interest of that's going to help tremendously, and it's going to keep those employees, because you have that over the next dealership down the road that's trying to get you to come work for them. Is, hey, you're making this extra cash with us.
So I want to come back to that point again in just a second with my next question, but I do want to make a comment and kind of get your feedback on this. One of the other things that we're seeing that's sort of touching back on what Dave just said in terms of the showroom experience, we have seen a steady increase in the usage of the system coming out of, we got a dip. I mean, we've actually shown that on previous podcasts where we went through the same dip that everybody else did, and we've achieved a level of usage that is higher than the rest of the year on average. And we attribute that because we did a whole program of trying to educate our stores to really push the fact that you have your accessory system on your dealership website. And so as people are shopping going onto their website, looking through the inventory, there's a link for accessories. They look at that link for accessories, and then they come in pre-subscribed or even having conversations before they even came in with a salesperson potentially. You've predetermined or you've pre-sold them on the accessories. So are you guys, do you have specific examples of where you have also seen that in the reflection back from your stores have said, yeah, because we added it to our website, we had, it's better usage. So are you seeing that same thing?
Sort of like an appetizer to the main course. The customer is doing all of customers are doing a lot more research online before they go into the dealership. Even if they're traditional buyers that are going to go through the whole process at the dealership, they're still looking at cars online to help them make their decision about what vehicle it is, really down to submodel that they're looking for. And the retailers that we work with have been, as David was saying, putting multiple links at various places on their primary dealership website that leads the customer to be exposed to the fact that there are accessories available. Vehicle personalization can be done at the dealership. It doesn't have to be done sometime later at some specialist someplace. So it's sort of like warming up the crowd. The customer seeing those accessories before they get into the store, so their mindset is already there and they're open for a discussion. When the sales associate says, now that you've made your decision about what vehicle you're going to buy, the car manufacturer has asked us to show you what's available to personalize your vehicle. Let me show you what we have here. And then it starts a presentation. And the customers kind of warmed up to the idea. We're hearing more and more of that because they were exposed to accessories when they were doing their online shopping for the car.
Right, 100%.
Absolutely, yeah. And one of my bigger dealerships, actually happens to be a Jaguar Land Rover dealership that uses the online links. And they've seen really a lot of movement with that. And even now when the showrooms are open fully and they do have traffic, it is something that people are able to go to and decide if there's accessories they want in their deal through the financing or not. If they're looking at multiple dealerships, it's great. This is one leg up to have that opportunity to
Right.
see now, because unfortunately it's like Dave said, it's like the appetizer. So they see that first. And if they can see that on another dealership's website, and I mean, they're going to go for where they get more information.
Yeah. So now back to the point you made just a few minutes ago, and taking my next question sort of in that direction, which is really about salespeople. And we have traditional stigmas that when we go into a new dealership account, or we have a prospect talking to a dealership that is considering signing up with us, we have to go through these layers of stigmas. And one of the very first stigma is, look, I talked about it, I think on the last podcast, that one time, and I won't repeat it, but it's kind of the joke of that one time something happened, and that I no longer want to sell accessories. And so we are probably dealing with a lot of seasoned professionals that are out there, because they're the A salespeople, right? So they are the seasoned sales professionals. They're in a store that does not offer vehicle personalization. And one of the main stigmas we have to get over is, this is going to kill my car deal. That one time it killed my car deal, right? And so talk to our audience about how you individually tackle those reasons why I'm just not going to get into this business. I'm just not going to do it as a salesperson. Look, I just don't have I don't have the time. That one time, all that kind of stuff. What are the traditional barriers that you see for an A salesperson that just resists getting into this and doing this?
Well, the most basic one is they are absolutely right. If they present is at the wrong time, it has the real potential to blow up the sale of the car.
That's right. That's a great way to say that.
If they start talking about accessories before the customer has made the choice of the vehicle that they want to purchase and landed on a price that they're going to pay, customer is going to ask them to throw it into the deal. And when they go to their sales manager and say, well, the customer is ready to buy and they're ready to pay this price, and we need to throw in these accessories, he's going to have an uphill struggle. The sales manager is not going to just roll over on that right away. They're going to say, well, no, you can't do that. You need to go back and explain to the customer that they're going to have to pay for those accessories. So timing will absolutely blow it. If you don't conclude and arrive on an agreed upon price with the customer for the car before you start exposing the customer to the accessories that are available, you will screw it up. And so
let me just stop you there and just say, that's best practice number one for our podcast. So you just got to it. There it is. Timing is everything, and having the right process in the right timing is key to being successful at this. Okay, so there you go. Proceed on, Mr. West.
Oh, well, simply that they're right, that they probably had that experience. They probably got jammed by the sales manager when they tried to give away too much, and they give them a sour taste in their mouth. So that's a full explanation about timing overcomes the problem.
Yeah.
Yep, absolutely.
Jimmy,
what's your
Well, you just said it.
No, come on.
What's that?
I said there's 1,000 of them. We could probably spend an entire podcast talking about the excuses or the reasons why salespeople don't want to do it.
Yeah, well, also, so a huge excuse that I get is I don't know anything about accessories. I don't know nothing about it. I can't sell something I know nothing about. And, again, like Dave said, that's correct, 100%. People think that and they can't. And that's why our system comes into play, and it helps with them not being a professional and us being a professional and them reading descriptions of products. Our system allows you to put in the vehicle that you're selling to the customer, and it gives you breakdown into the model, even the color, And then a virtual configurator comes up with the vehicle, pops up, nice.
So you don't have to know anything about it. All you got to do is put your customer in front of it.
Nothing at all. It's really simple. I mean, I'm making it sound real simple, and it's just as simple as it sounds.
Because it is.
But so they're able to go onto the website and pull up the vehicle and put on. It offers different accessories that are 100% available, and it allows you to put them on the vehicle and see it on the vehicle and change angles. And you could also go to all accessories and go through anywhere from sound system, TVs, suspension. It's endless almost, and it's only parts that fit that vehicle. And the descriptions show you what exactly the product is, and if there's anything needed. Let's say you're putting a roof rack on a new Land Rover, it will show you what other parts are necessary for it to work in the actual cost, opposed to the salesperson having to remember, well, wait, I got to buy cross rails for this also in order to put that bicycle rack on.
That's right. That's right.
So
yeah.
that's definitely one.
Well, and another reason too that I find salespeople are resistant sometimes when they aren't used to working, certainly if they haven't worked with us, is they remember that one time that their CSI got dinged because fixed operations fumbled the ball on an accessory sale, and it reflected back on the salesperson because the customer gave a bad survey because they were unhappy. And so I love it when they bring that one up, because the Insignia system is designed to eliminate that piece of paper that they wrote down the accessories on and handed to the parts counter in the old days. Now it's electronic, and there's that whole feedback loop for them being notified when that order for those accessories for the customer reaches the parts department, and then as it's processed through the parts department and the appointment gets made for service for the installation. So it reinforces the salesperson, makes them very comfortable with the fact that they're not going to drop the ball on the back. Yeah, so I find that that's a great objection for them to come up with. It's my favorite one because it's so easy to overcome.
Excellent. Hey, Cameron from backstage, throw the comment that Jason put up there. There is also a number of real life benefits to the customer. So this is a long one, but let's dissect it because this is good. One of the other pieces that that I think is important for salespeople to remember is that they're going to buy your customer is going to buy something somewhere from someone else if you don't offer them. One of the things that we try to use in our best practice sessions is a new car dealership has 100% opportunity to sell accessories on that new car, right? 100% opportunity because the car's there. They're the ones selling it for the first time. So if a customer is going to do something to their car to personalize it for their lifestyle or just for their personality or for the drivability or whatever, you've got 100% opportunity to do it right there, right then during that car sale. So if your customer is going to do it anyway, why are you not taking that opportunity to have that transaction with you, the car sales person, right? So I think that's another one of the things that when we talk to salespeople, if we just put it inherently, and I'm not a salesperson, I'm an English major and I pretend to be a salesperson on TV. So I'm not good at math, but I find that most salespeople are excellent numbers people. And when you throw them something like you have 100% opportunity to do something, it triggers some other chemical in their brain where they go, oh, that makes total sense. Now I'm going to do it. It's like, so how are what ways do you guys use to kind of connect with salespeople when you're training them or interacting with them or helping them improve? What are some of those best practices, kind of ways that you connect with a salesperson to help them see that? Like, hey, you've got 100% of the opportunity. It does something. It triggers something. Do you guys have examples of where you use similar tactics?
I like the key phrase obligation.
Okay.
Riff on obligation. you have an obligation to your customer to service them properly by letting them know that they can have a free extended warranty on their accessories, right? Because they'll get the same bumper to bumper warranty on the accessories they get on the car if the accessories are purchased with the car, literally on the purchase order. So if don't tell the customer that, you're doing them a disservice. And likewise, you're obligated to let them know that the least expensive way they could possibly buy accessories is to roll them into their car loan.
Mm-hmm.
There is no credit card that comes close to the rate that they're going to get on their new car loan.
Yeah.
And so, you're doing your customer a disservice to not introduce it to them. And as long as this is a soft presentation and you look at it that way, that it's my obligation, Mr. Customer, to let you know that you can get a 3-year warranty if you buy your accessories today, and that we probably can make it very affordable for you by rolling it into the payments. The other obligation is an obligation to the people that you work with. If you just sell a car and you don't sell accessories, then you're not feeding your parts department and you're not feeding your service department. And I tell salespeople, you have an obligation to help out your teammates. And that's an additional reason on top of everything else to present accessories to your customers. And that puts it in a very different perspective than the simple, you get to make more money.
Yes.
But back to the A salespeople, I mean, the difference between the A salespeople, the cream of the crop, and the rest of them is that they are salespeople. They happen to be selling cars, but they are salespeople, and they understand the opportunity to make extra money when you put it in perspective for them that way.
Right. I love what you did there with obligation. You used it in such a complex way, meaning it's their obligation. And now it becomes a word track you can use with your customer, and it's their obligation to their other cohorts and their other co-employees in their other departments. That's awesome. I love that. So hear that out there, salespeople? You're obligated to sell accessories. Jimmy, do you have something like that?
Well, so I don't know if I'm going backwards or not, but really, the sales team member needs to be sure that you're quote unquote investigating and interviewing every person that you're selling a vehicle to. And you need to make sure what they're driving in with. I mean, are they driving in with a Jeep lifted with big wheels and tires, roof rack, running boards? Like what are they driving in with? I mean, what is their style? When you're talking to the person you're selling the vehicle to, I mean, what did they do last weekend? Did they take a big bike ride with their kids? Do their kids go surfing? Do they go surfing? Like, find out what they do for fun and find out what they drove in with, because it's very likely they're going to need those accessories for what either they drove in on or what they do for fun. And use that. Yeah, and use that and find out what their problems are with the vehicle they have now and how you could create a solution for that.
So, we talk a lot about we don't want to insert extra changes to the dealership's methodology for selling. And the salespeople are experts at how to sell, and they're experts about the products that they sell, the cars that they sell. And to an earlier point, we make them experts at accessories without them having to spend a lot of time learning it. And additionally, what that does is it gives them the opportunity to step up and, as Jimmy was just saying, take it from there, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, excellent. Cool. So in your opinion, what are the most common things that we see customers doing to their vehicles across the board? This is sort of a statistical question, but it's also sort of a regional question, I think, of what the opportunity really is all about. So, on the West Coast, what are you seeing the most of? And then on the East Coast, Dave, what are you seeing, the most of? We'll start on the West Coast.
Absolutely. So realistically, the most I see are trailer hitches and systems. That is a huge, for every brand. I mean, across the board, to be dead honest with you. That and then roof racks. Those are the two major players that pay a lot and are heavy profiter.
Right. So let's dive into that a little bit and kind of speak to that, because I think if I were a salesperson and my dealership did not have a program, or I had an OEM that didn't offer an OEM trailer system, what would you recommend as their steps to take? I mean, obviously, if they have an OEM, trailer hitch, that makes sense. Let's make sure you're presenting that, because you get to hold the service in your dealership. You're not bringing an outside company into it, that kind of thing. But if they don't, so many OEMs don't offer an OEM, trailer hitch. So, what do you do? How do you help a salesperson, a la the dealership, in addressing that high profile, high profile accessory?
Well, how I would address that is I would work with finding a vendor who does sell them, an aftermarket vendor, and I would go into Parts Builder and build that part and put it for each individual vehicle.
Yeah.
That's what I would do.
Good. Excellent. Dave, what are you seeing? What are you seeing in the Northeast as like popular industries?
Well, nitrous and turbocharging.
Damn.
Okay, really.
Hey, Leslie mentioned it earlier. It's a great kind of segue. I'll come back to that, to what your real answer is. And we do need to throw it out there that the Diplomat has never had nitrous or any of that stuff in there, and that would be kind of a fun Diplomat challenge to nitrosize the Diplomat. And Leslie says that. It was Jason that said it. I thought it was, I'm sorry. I saw the comments. I'm sure, Jason, the Diplomat can go drifting. And yes, I think I fancy myself as kind of a driver. So if somebody could teach me the technique, and I think I could do it.
Is it rear wheel drive?
It's front wheel drive.
Can't go drifting.
You'll have to drift backwards.
Yeah.
Okay. I see how much I know about the engineering of cars, but I'm pretty sure the Diplomat's a front wheel drive car.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll get some nitrous for it. We will get you some nitrous for that if you're willing to sacrifice.
Sacrifice what?
Potentially some, a rod going through the block, a new motor,
blowing up the car. Okay, well, nothing ventured, nothing gained.
Well, Jimmy, also the other thing we can do is we'll make sure that the tires are really slippery.
Yeah, there you go. Ice skates.
Yeah.
All right, so Dave, Northeast popular accessories.
All right, well, humdrum, but a great moneymaker is everybody needs all-weather mats.
I knew, so I was going to figure you were going to say.
It's a Northeast thing, but I've discovered since I work with dealerships around the country that it's not regional. Even in warm weather states that don't need, I'm used to thinking about all-weather mats as being all about snow and ice.
Yeah.
However, sand is equally a big problem, and wet mud in the Southeast. Red
clay in the Carolinas. Boy, you get that in the interior of a car and it never comes out. So yeah.
Out of the carpets. Right. And of course, the part of the presentation to the customer is not only does it keep your car clean, but it enhances the value of the car when it comes time to trade it in or return it on lease, because the carpets are not beat to heck.
Yeah, so something else to kind of chat about there, in one of our classic techniques. So here's another best practice. We call it lead products, and similar to all-weather mats. A little philosophy that I have noticed that when I train a dealership, I try to convey this sort of this wisdom. All-weather mats are a terrible, terrible lead product. So I'm going to put that out there, and then I'm going to tell you lead product. So for our audience, what a lead product is it's the one product that could be universal to all your cars on your lot. Literally every vehicle that you sell, your lead product could go on any one of them. And it's something that you are super, super comfortable with as a salesperson to present. So it kind of, it sort of flows like this, and it's a great way to segue into a vehicle personalization presentation, or at least turn over during the car sale. Car sale's done. Dave West has landed on his BMW, 5 Series. jet black. It's beautiful. Now I can go, I am going to introduce accessories, but I'm going to do it by way of a lead product. Okay. And obviously this is, this particular one may or may not work on a BMW. I'd probably box myself into with that vehicle, but the lead product presentation will go something like this. Dave West, you are going to really enjoy this BMW. We here at Stringer BMW offer a remote start on all of our vehicles. I know it probably is factory, so like I said, I boxed myself in with my example, but we're live and I can't take it back. And here is we can install that today, and it goes with your goes with your current payment, and it'll only increase your payment $2, blah blah blah. Would you like to do that today? And Dave West says,
but of course.
Then let me show you what else we have to offer.
Right.
So it becomes a very easy way to qualify that customer, right? And it doesn't matter what Dave West says. So Dave West, I'm going to roll it back again, and I want you to tell me no. Dave West, would you like that remote start today?
No, I park my car in the garage all the time. I have no real need for a remote starter.
No problem. Let me show you what else we have, right? So it doesn't matter what Dave West says. Obviously, we want to sell them the remote start. And what it does is it also helps us to introduce him to a grander presentation of vehicle personalization. So back to my point, all-weather mats are a terrible lead product. And so the why is because they are really perceived as something that you throw in, right? So the worst case that happens is we offer, all-weather mats here, and they're $105. I want those thrown in, right? Mm-hmm. But if it's a remote start, which is another wonderful lead product, depending on your brand, right? So if you're a salesperson and you have a brand that has a lot of remote starts that are factory remote starts, that's one thing. We'll go on to I'm going to ask you guys in a second what other good lead products are. But the point is that remote starts are a great lead product because the value that you're offering is at least $500-$600, right? And that's going to be a little harder for the for the customer to go, oh, throw that in. Well, I would love to throw it in. Look, it's not it's the parts people that put that on there. I would love to throw it in, but my parts manager will kill me and he'll take it out of my paycheck. So I can't throw it in, but if you'd like it, I would definitely put it in your payment, blah, 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 blah. So again, another way a technique to overcome that objection. So I talked a lot and very fast right through there. So other lead products, Jimmy Mondragon, you've got an example?
Yeah, absolutely. So for my area, let's say Arizona, obviously window tint is a heavy lead-in product.
Yes.
That is something that Dave's looking at me like, God, of course.
No, you just stole my favorite lead product. But that's okay.
So yeah, window tint, and then also paint protection, which some dealerships that I will say with paint protection, sometimes that is done with F&I. But paint protection, it just depends on the dealership. That is definitely what a great lead product would be for me, and it works.
Dave, you got another one?
Well, the whole discovery process that the salesperson goes through, a professional salesperson goes through when they're trying to figure out what car to sell to the customer and the hot buttons for the customer for the presentation of the car. We train them to use that discovery process to also think about what accessories make sense for the customer, right? What do you notice a trailer hitch on their trade? Coming back to that, what toys do you tow with that hitch? What is it that you're into? Is it for snowmobiles? Is that for off-road motorcycles? And what are you using it for? So that is a great technique that feeds into a friendly conversation, another easy way to introduce accessories to the customer, because you earlier had the conversation with them about what do they use that trailer hitch for.
Yeah. Cameron, put Roger's comment just now because he just stole what I was gonna. He didn't steal it. That's not fair. He suggested the same thing I was about to say, so we'll give him the credit for saying it faster. Which is body slide molding is awesome, and the technique with body slide molding that I advise dealerships with is that you got to price it above $100. So, yep, body side molding may be a super profit margin there at $150, but again, it's the perceived value. And what I also like about body side molding is that it's perfect, absolutely perfect. Same with door edge guards, perfect for leased vehicles. So you put door edge guards on, body side molding on a leased vehicle. Now you've just sold an accessory which we didn't normally sell on a leased vehicle. Now that's an easy sell. Why? Well, Mr. Customer, Mrs. Customer, you want to protect that car and protect that lease residual value. So you don't want door dings and chips in your door. So door edge guard, body side moldings is a great one. Cameron, let's also hit on Jason's lead package. So this one's a good one. I like this idea as well. So a lead-in package of 3 things. So awesome.
And part of the benefit of Parts Builder is you can create these packages of 3 accessories and set them up as featured and popular accessories to remind the salesperson, and they can present them as a package for a set price. And if the customer says, well, I want this and that, but not that, well, it's okay. We can, okay. It's available. Sure, no problem. One of the biggest surprises that we introduce to retailers is there's no particular reason to discount the accessories that are in a package. You don't need to say, if you normally bought these 3 accessories that would cost you $500, but we have this package deal for 4.
Yeah.
This part's unnecessary. You just say, this is our most popular package for your vehicle, and it's these 3 accessories, and it's this much money.
Right. Yes, Leslie. So splash guards. Ironically enough, so let you guys weigh in too. Ironically enough, I think splash guards don't work as a lead product. They're somewhat of a style niche, and I could do with or without it. How do you guys feel about splash guards?
I've never used it as a lead-in, to be honest.
It feeds back to the lease customer, especially. Mm-hmm. You kind of putting a couple of things together we talked about here. Another objection that we get from salespeople sometime as well, we sell a really high percentage of leases here. We don't lease a ton of cars. So, the people that lease cars don't buy accessories. Well, it's certainly been our experience that they want to protect their investment, as you were saying, that they want to protect the residual value of that vehicle when it comes back. And splash guards is a matter of how you present that. Yes, it's a stylistic thing, but if you present it as a way to protect your investment, that you're not going to be beating the crap out of the lower rocker panels with, especially like here in New England, with flying stones and salt during the wintertime. That's another protection of your investment with the vehicle.
I think my reaction to the splash guards, and Leslie, thank you for suggesting it, is that I think of splash guards as and maybe it's just kind of conditioning, as a perfect preload item. So a lot of what we also do, ultimately vehicle personalization is about letting the customer choose what they want to add to the vehicle. And there's some things that you can do as a parts person, parts manager, parts department with your showroom to really have a baseline accessory number that becomes your floor based upon what you preload. And many dealerships are very successful at preload programs. And I think of splash guards as a perfect preload because it does change the look of the vehicle, but it doesn't change it so drastically that I've never heard anybody complain, I think you need to take those splash guards off and I'll take the car, right? Nobody says that, right? It's usually, those splash guards look kind of cool, so we're going to leave those on there. So now that's a way to build that into your vehicles on the long term. So I don't know, preload programs? You guys talk to your dealerships about preload programs?
Yeah, absolutely. As a baseline, and a springboard, because the downside of preload is when you're negotiating the price of the car, you're probably negotiating the price of those accessories. And so baseline, that's okay. And what we really want them to do is to present those accessories as a separate purchase from the car, like we were saying before, because that protects the profit margin in the accessory sale. Also, you were just saying a minute ago about dressing the vehicles on the showroom floor a little bit. That's an extension of creating an accessory culture in the dealership. Initially, we focus on helping dealers with process, because process has so much to do, consistent process of presenting accessories. But beyond that, you need to make the dealership feel like accessories are a part of every vehicle purchase. It's absolutely part of what we do all the time. And by having hero vehicles on the showroom floor or on the front line, dressed up vehicles with accessories, it's not about selling that loaded up vehicle with those accessories on it so much as it is creating the concept in the customer's mind of, well, this is what we do here every day at my Jeep dealership. All of my customers do this. So why wouldn't you?
Jimmy, thoughts on a preload?
Yeah. So, with upfitting, that's Dave's. I know. Go to that. Sorry. What I have to say about the upfitting is, what I always push is going overboard with it, because it is a display. It's not something, and definitely not discounting on the parts, but this is something you want to build a lot of your accessories on to display it and sell off of, opposed to selling. And yet, a lot of GMs and general sales managers they don't like sitting on anything, and I get that. But this is something that you use for marketing, and you will sell a ton of accessories off of it, because you have to also understand there's a lot of sales team members say, hey, I don't know accessories. Well, a lot of your customers don't know accessories either. So if they don't know what's cool, what's not cool, what's hot today, what was hot last week, they don't know. So if you create different upfits for the customers to see, they'll be like, oh, well, I love that. I didn't know that's what that was, but I love the look. I want that. And then you use that to sell off of what you're going to be building.
Yeah, let me toss a best practice onto that, by the way. I recommend to general managers, when they're working with creating this accessory culture, that the hero vehicle that they load up heavily, like Jimmy's talking about, is not in the most popular color for the vehicle. Make sure you do not choose it in the most popular color, because what you want the customer to say is, I really like that Jeep over there, but I'm just not into that green. I'd like one black. No problem. We can do that. And then that avoids that whole conversation about, well, we're going to discount the vehicle with all those accessories on it.
So I have a funny story on that. I was training a store, and I'm going to leave the brand out. They were all into, we're gonna really get into this deep. We're really gonna give this whole process a major try, and we're going to really dress up the showroom and really blah, 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 blah. So I come back after, probably we're like 3 months into it, and sales and things just aren't happening. So I took that opportunity to kind of look around the showroom, and what I noticed was there was a souped up sports car. There was a full-size truck that was a bland color. It had stock wheels on it and nothing else. I mean, not even a bed liner in this truck, right? And then I noticed there was a sedan that was super stripped down. This showroom wasn't huge. It could probably fit like 4 different cars. So stripped down, super model sports car, right? Like over the top sports car, and then this truck. And so I went to the general manager. First I went to the sales manager. I was like, so I noticed something. These vehicles that are in here, you've got this one souped up sports car, but you've got these other sort of kind of blands. Yeah, those are the most aged vehicles that we have. And I was like, okay, explain. So he explained it to me, because I'm not totally from the car business, so sometimes I have to ask, okay, what does that mean? So he says these are the vehicles that are the oldest in inventory. We got to move these, and generally, and so what the general sales manager likes to do, or the general manager likes to do, is put the oldest inventory in the showroom. And I was like, okay, but they're really, really, really stripped down. Let's dress them up. Oh no, can't do that. They've been sitting here forever and blah blah blah. So I said, no, that's not good enough for me. So I went to the general manager and I said, look, I don't get it. you've got a base model truck sitting on your showroom that's completely stripped down. It's the one that's been sitting here the longest. How much longer are you going to allow it to sit there, right? Let's dress it up and see what we can do. Let's make it interesting. Sell the damn thing. He's like, nope. This is a technique I've used since the early 80s, and I'm not going to change it. I went back for 3 consecutive months, and it became the truck that they were collecting toys for tots in 3 or 4 months later. I kid you not. That car sat there for 5 months on their showroom floor and not a single accessory on it. So yeah, it was I knew we weren't going to get very far at that store. So anyway, that was just a little fun story.
It's a proven technique to move aged inventory is to dress it.
Yes.
I mean, you can
right
discount it so far and not get any deep response to the deeper discounting. So what you do instead is just invest a little money in dressing it up. And the worst thing that could happen is that you don't get all of your money back on the accessories, but you move that aged metal and get it off floor planning.
And the mentality I thought was so interesting. It was, I want to keep it there so that the salespeople see it every single day. Okay.
Unfortunately, your customers see it every single day too, and it's boring.
And it's sitting there. And what is that meta message that you're sending? And I didn't let it up. I mean, every time I went in there, I gave the general manager some crap about it. I mean, what's he going to do? Throw me out of the store? Fire me? Okay, dude, you brought me in here to help you sell accessories. You're not doing anything I asked you to do. So fine, fire me. I mean, you've already fired me anyway. You're not doing what I asked you to do. So I would flick him every single time, and I was like, oh, that's kind of an interesting use of it to put your Toys for Tots stuff in the back. That's cool. How about we, dress it up even further? And I think the month after that general manager was gone. So that tells you something. All right, so we're gonna wrap up this. We're almost at an hour, and we like to keep this short and sweet. So before we go, though, let's have some fun. Jimmy Mondragon, your most favorite car or your dream car, if you could have one. My favorite dream car, you guys aren't gonna believe this, just a Cadillac CTSV. That's it. CTSV, that's it. The souped up one, that's the CTSV, right? Yeah, supercharged. Yeah. It is a bad mamma jamma. Oh man, it's yeah, I've driven them. Yes, absolutely. It's attainable, just not today. Dave West, favorite car or dream car? Dream car? Jimmy's drift car. That's what I need. I need to be one of those to be my daily driver. You could be a proud owner. Just give me a call. Yeah, just right. Yes, Leslie loves her Cadillac. I don't think Leslie has a CTSV. I think she's got the electronic Cadillac. It's super nice. It's super nice. All right. Well, so thank you, gentlemen. I really appreciate you guys being on the show today and sharing your all of your experience. If you want to get in touch with either one of these great gentlemen and get more of their insights and to help you to sell more accessories and to be a better salesperson and make more money, make happier customers, find them on social media. We're big on having LinkedIn pages, so go out and find us on LinkedIn. Connect with these guys. We're always posting stuff. We're always trying to educate the community and the industry about the best practices and great things that you can do to help your career, help your customers, and really fully express vehicle personalization. So thank you guys both for being on the show, and thank you for what you do for our customers. You guys have a proven track record of success. And I know your customers really appreciate you very much, and I appreciate you. So until next time, I'm David Stringer, and this has been Next Up Accessories, where we connect your next up and vehicle personalization to help you make more money and happier customers. Our next episode is going to be September 2nd at 1 o'clock. We'll do a little promo that week and talk to you about who the guest will be. And I think that's going to be a great show. We're going to take it in the direction of a great lead product. I think that's what we had set up for, maybe I'm wrong, but, great lead product discussion on September 1st. So thank you very much for tuning in. Remember, every deal, every day. Bye-bye.
Peace and stay healthy.
Nice.